Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
General Hospital spoilers reveal that Drew Cain will propose to Willow Tate and maintain for an alternate chance marriage form. Drew will get down on one knee and supplicate Willow to be his woman. So she'll surely be caught off guard by his bold move. Now that Willow's out on bail, Drew will want to prove he's still all in on their future together. Despite the challenges they've faced, Drew will hope to show his love and make Willow believe they could still live happily ever later. Of course, Drew's last attempt to marry Willow didn't work out veritably well. Curtis Ashford dished to Willow about Nina Reeves' former passionate hassles with Drew, so the bridegroom ditched him at the balcony. Still, a lot's happened since also, so GH spoilers say Drew will push for a clean slate. Drew will remind Willow that he no way believed the shooter allegations and that he's doing everything he can to make sure she stays a free woman. Willow will have some reservations since it's egregious her reconnection with Drew is further about optics and using him to her advantage. Since Willow is indicted of trying to wipe Drew off the chart, she'd look indeed shamed if she washed her hands of him. That's commodity Willow will have to keep in mind once Drew offers up his rearmost marriage offer. It's in Willow's stylish interest to keep Drew on her side, so saying yes to his engagement ring would help achieve that. Drew might also argue that their marriage would shoot a communication to the judge, jury, and everyone differently in Port Charles. Maybe Drew will argue that they need to tie the knot ASAP and present a truly united front in court. Will Willow surrender to Drew's marriage plea despite any moping misprision for him? There'll be some shocked and furious PC residers during the week of November 24th to 28th, so Willow and Drew may eventually have some engagement news to spread. Whatever the case, General Hospital spoilers say Drew will pop the question and await Willow's answer, so stay tuned for updates on her big decision. General Hospital spoilers remind that when Jacinda Bracken first surfaced in Port Charles, she was honored as Ezra Boyle's favorite callgirl. Yikes, what an accolade! Despite that, she started to climb the species with a veritably public moment with Congressman Drew Cain that no mistrustfulness brought her more guests, but Michael Corinthos was no way supposed to be one of them. Their offered justification story has been salutary for both of them. Michael has an justification for the night of Drew's firing, and Jacinda has a new life all set up for her to climb her way out of the companion business. There's just one problem: someone knows Jacinda was with Michael the night Drew was shot, and he just might be ready to start talking. The truth always comes to light for a while now. Numerous suckers have suspected that there would be commodity that brings the hammer down on Michael and his dummy justification. Still, he has been extremely confident throughout this fire that he's not going to end up taking the fall for shooting Drew. He's pertinacious that he didn't do it, and it's nearly as though he's apprehensive of who actually did. Unfortunately for him, it's a given that at least one person, the Bone, who was actually with Jacinda on the night in question, knows they're both lying. GH spoilers tease Ezra has nothing to lose if it's Ezra who was with Jacinda on the night Drew was shot. Also, we know he most clearly has an justification, not that there was ever reason to suspect he shot the Solon he's been colluding with all these months. But why hasn't he revealed the sap on Michael and Jacinda yet when either of them could have been shamefaced of shooting Drew and would have had motive to do it? Well, Ezra might have kept quiet because it served him to let Drew handle this mess, and because Drew wanted the influence of having Michael in his crosshairs. It's also possible Ezra demanded to lie low about being with a companion while he was running for mayor against Laura Collins. Now that we know Laura has won the race, Ezra might not have any good reason to keep quiet. Chase gets the scoop? Meanwhile, Harrison Chase has been smelling around for suggestions, off the timepiece, that might free Willow of the perception that she shot Drew, intending to kill him, and ran back to work pretending like she was no way there. He also believes Michael is framing Willow, which would suggest Michael did it. So if Chase is suitable to track down who Jacinda actually spent the night with that evening, it might lead him straight to Ezra's door. Fresh from the stifling confines of a jail cell and now free on bail, Willow Tate is navigating a world that views her with a mixture of pity and suspicion. The accusation that she attempted to murder Drew Cain, a man she was moments from marrying, hangs over her like a shroud. In this fragile state, she is wholly unprepared for Drew's next move. In a scene fraught with emotional whiplash, Drew Kane will cast aside any lingering hesitation and propose marriage for a second time. This will not be a casual suggestion or a quiet conversation about their future, it will be a grand, deliberate gesture. He will get down on one knee, a symbol of traditional romance that feels profoundly dissonant given their circumstances, and beg Willow to become his wife. This bold move is designed to achieve several interconnected goals, all rooted in proving his unwavering commitment. Drew's primary objective is to demonstrate to Willow, and to all of Port Charles, that he remains all in. His faith in her innocence has been his most consistent attribute throughout this ordeal. He never once believed the shooter was Willow, and this proposal is his most potent way of reinforcing that belief. He hopes to cut through the trauma, the public scrutiny, and the legal nightmare to reach the woman he loves, offering a vision of the happily ever after that was so cruelly stolen from them at the altar. Of course, the ghost of their failed wedding day looms large. The memory is a fresh wound for them both, the joyous anticipation shattered by Curtis Ashford's devastating revelation about Nina Reeves and Drew's past passionate encounters. The public humiliation of being left at the altar is a trauma Willow carries, and Drew's current plea is a direct attempt to overwrite that painful memory with a new, triumphant narrative. He is aggressively pushing for a clean slate, arguing that the tumultuous events since the shooting have forged a stronger, more resilient bond between them. However, beneath the surface of this romantic overture lies a calculated legal and social strategy that Willow, in her heightened state of awareness, cannot ignore. Drew is likely to present a compelling, pragmatic argument for matrimony. A swift marriage, he will contend, sends an undeniable message to the judge, the jury, and the gossiping residents of Port Charles. What stronger proof of her innocence and his unwavering support could there be than a united front, solidified by marriage? How could a woman guilty of attempting to murder a man turn around and marry him? In the theater of the courtroom, their union would be a powerful piece of evidence in her favor, a living testament to the absurdity of the charges against her. For Willow, the decision is a torturous dilemma. Her reconnection with Drew feels, in part, transactional. It is driven by optics and survival. To publicly wash her hands of Drew now, in the face of these charges, would be perceived as an admission of guilt. Maintaining his staunch support is, quite simply, in her best interest. Accepting his engagement ring is the most definitive way to secure his alliance and present a picture of a couple victoriously overcoming adversity. Yet, can she silence the lingering disdain from his past deceptions? Can she separate the man she once loved from the strategic partner she now needs? Her answer will be a complex calculus of heart, survival instinct, and cold, hard pragmatism. The week of November 24th to 28th is poised to send shockwaves through the city, and an engagement announcement from this embattled pair would certainly be a primary catalyst. The house of cards, Michael, Jacinda, and the alibi built on sand. While Drew and Willow navigate their very public crisis, another, more clandestine drama is unfolding, one that holds the key to the entire mystery. The staged alibi between Michael Corinthos and Jacinda Bracken, which has been mutually beneficial, is showing fatal cracks. To understand the imminent threat, one must first understand Jacinda's arrival in Port Charles. Her initial notoriety was as Ezra Boyle's favorite call girl, a dubious accolade that nonetheless cemented her position in a certain underworld. Her profile was significantly raised by a very public moment with Congressman Drew Kane, a transaction that undoubtedly expanded her clientele. Michael Corinthos, however, was never intended to be part of that world. Their arrangement was one of pure, unvarnished convenience. Michael needed an ironclad alibi for the night of Drew's shooting, and Jacinda needed a powerful patron to help her climb out of the escort business and forge a respectable new life. Their story, that they were together that fateful evening, provided Michael with a shield from suspicion and Jacinda with a golden ticket to social legitimacy. It was a perfectly constructed symbiosis. The fatal flaw in this scheme is as old as time itself: someone always knows the truth. There is a third party, the individual who was actually with Jacinda Bracken on the night Drew Kane was shot, who possesses the power to demolish their carefully constructed facade with a few well-chosen words. This person knows unequivocally that Michael and Jacinda are perpetrating a fraud. The truth always comes to light. For weeks, a sense of impending doom has surrounded Michael's confident demeanor. While others in his position might display anxiety, Michael has exhibited a near preternatural calm, insisting not only on his own innocence but also acting as though he is privy to information others are not. His confidence suggests he may be aware of the shooter's true identity, using his faux alibi not just for protection, but as a piece in a larger, unseen game. This arrogance, however, may be his undoing. The foundation of his safety is a lie, and the one person who can expose it is a loose cannon with motivations of their own. Spoilers tease Ezra has nothing to lose. All evidence points to Ezra Boyle being Jacinda's actual companion that night. This, ironically, provides him with his own alibi, not that he was ever a serious suspect in the shooting. This raises the critical question, why has he remained silent? If Ezra was with Jacinda, he knows Michael is lying, and either of them could have been the shooter. Michael had clear motive, and Jacinda's motives are always fluid and tied to the highest bidder. Ezra's silence can be attributed to a confluence of self-interest. Firstly, it served Drew Kane's purposes to have leverage over Michael. By keeping the secret, Ezra was allowing his political ally, Drew, to hold a sword of Damocles over his rival's head. Secondly, and perhaps more importantly, was Ezra's own political ambition. In the thick of a heated mayoral race against the impeccable Laura Collins, the revelation that he was spending the night with a high-profile escort would have been a scandal of catastrophic proportions. It would have torpedoed his campaign and annihilated his reputation. Silence was not just convenient, it was a strategic necessity for his political survival. Now, with Laura Collins declared the victor, the calculus has changed dramatically. Ezra Boyle has been publicly defeated. The stakes that once compelled his silence have evaporated. Humiliated, angry, and with his political capital diminished, he has significantly less to lose. A man in his position, feeling cornered and vengeful, is exponentially more dangerous. The leverage Michael and Jacinda held over him is gone, and Ezra may now see exposing their lie as a way to regain a measure of power, settle scores, or simply create chaos for those he feels have wronged him. Chase gets the scoop? Simultaneously, another threat to the fragile alibi is emerging from an entirely different direction: Harrison Chase. Operating off the books and driven by a personal conviction of Willow's innocence, Chase has become a rogue investigator, obsessively searching for any clue that can dismantle the case against her. His theory is clear and damning. He believes Michael Corinthos is actively framing Willow for the crime, which inherently means Michael is the true culprit. Chase's investigation is a ticking time bomb. If his dogged pursuit leads him to start questioning the validity of Michael's alibi, his path would inevitably lead him to Jacinda Bracken. From there, peeling back the layers of her story would direct him straight to her most powerful and notorious client, Ezra Boyle. Chase, armed with the truth and a detective's instinct for justice, would not hesitate to expose the conspiracy, regardless of the political and personal fallout. His mission to save Willow could inadvertently trigger the very collapse that Ezra is now contemplating. Converging storms, the impending implosion. The narrative threads of Drew's proposal, Michael's fragile alibi, and Chase's investigation are not isolated, they are intricately woven together, destined to collide. Imagine the scene: Drew, having secured a tentative yes from a conflicted Willow, attempts to present their engagement as a new beginning, a symbol of their triumph over adversity. Just as they begin to sell this narrative to a skeptical public, the foundation of the entire case is ripped out from under them. If Ezra Boyle goes public, or if Chase exposes the truth, the entire landscape of the shooting investigation shifts seismically. Michael's alibi, the very thing that has allowed him to operate with such impunity, would be exposed as a perversion of justice. He would instantly become the prime suspect, his every action viewed through the lens of a man who not only had motive but also fabricated an alibi. The charges against Willow would appear ludicrous in this new light, potentially leading to their swift dismissal. But this freedom would come at a terrible cost. For Drew and Willow, this revelation would create a new and more complex prison. Willow's yes to Drew's proposal, once potentially seen as a strategic move for her legal defense, would be stripped of that context. Would it then be viewed as a genuine rekindling of love, or would the cynical underpinnings of the engagement be laid bare? The public humiliation for Drew would be immense, his grand romantic gesture revealed to be a solution to a problem that was fundamentally fraudulent. Furthermore, the exposure would unleash a maelstrom of angry threats. Michael, cornered and desperate, would likely turn his fury on Ezra, on Drew, and even on Willow. The political alliance between Drew and Ezra would shatter, leading to a bitter and public war. Jacinda, her new life evaporating, would be left with nothing, making her a wild card capable of anything.